Hi everyone, Emily teacher here, and today we're reading an African folktale. Some folktales tell of valiant deeds performed by great heroes. An example is the Japanese story of Tokyo and the sea monster. Others explain how things came to be. The Welsh tale of the silver cows and the water lilies is one such story. A third group tells how the weak and helpless defeat the strong and powerful. This does not always happen in real life, but it does happen in folk tales. An example is this East African story of the Maskini and the Tajiri. Okay, so let's read this third category of folk tale about how weak and helpless can defeat strong and powerful people. Every evening, the Tajiri, or rich man, sat down to a hearty meal prepared for him in his own kitchen. The food that was left over would have been enough to feed a whole family. But the Tajiri was extremely stingy. The leftovers from his table went to his pigs to fatten them up for later use. So the Tajiri is a rich man. He's very stingy. He has lots and lots of food that could feed many people, but he only eats it himself and uses the leftovers to feed his pigs. The Miskini, or the poor man, lived on simple fare. He owned a goat that gave him milk and cheese, but his evening meal was usually nothing more than a bowl of porridge. However, he had found a way to make it more enjoyable. He would eat his meal while hidden outside the Tajiri's kitchen. Therefore, there wonderful smells came wafting through the open window. They made the Miskini's mouth water, so the simple porridge seemed like a feast. So the Miskini is a poor man, but he knows how to make use of what he has. He eats porridge every night, but he'll sit outside of the rich man's window so he can smell the delicious food and pretend he's eating it. One evening, the Tajiri decided to take a walk in his garden to work up an appetite for dinner. He saw the Miskini sitting outside the kitchen window. As the Tajiri watched, he saw the Miskini inhale deeply. A blissful look came over the poor man's face. How dare he help himself to my smells, thought the Tajiri. He ordered his servants to seize the Miskini and escort him to the village jail. So the Tajiri is so stingy, he had the Miskini arrested just for smelling the smells that came from his house. Very not nice. A few days later, the Miskini was summoned before the court that met weekly in the village center. The village elders would decide the case on its merits. The Tajiri explained that the smells from the kitchen belonged to him. The Miskini was depriving him of them. As payment, he demanded the Miskini's goat, which was the only thing he owned. When asked to respond, the Miskini, looking very forlorn, could only stare at the ground and shuffle his feet, afraid to speak. So he didn't have a lot to say in return, right? He was too upset. The village elders now withdrew to the shade of a nearby baobab tree. After a brief discussion, the village chief came forward and addressed the crowd. All right, so they said their sides, and now the village chief is going to address the crowd. Let's see what she says. The Miskini did help himself to the smells from the Tajiri's kitchen, she said. However, he did not receive any food from him. We have concluded, therefore, that the Tajiri should not be given the goat. However, in fairness to him, we believe he should have the right to smell the Miskini's goat whenever he wants. The Tajiri was furious. He left without saying a word. But the people of the village approved the court's decision. They felt that justice had been done. So because the Tajiri was such a mean person and very selfish, the people were so happy because the poor had won, right? The poor and weak had overcome the rich and powerful. So justice had been done in the village. Thank you for reading with me today. We do have links related to each story, and if you would like the link for this article here, you can find it down in the description below.